What happens when a sci-fi movie becomes so disastrous that theaters panic and drag it off the screen before audiences can even understand what happened? Across the history of cinema, there are films that crashed so hard they vanished almost instantly, lost in a haze of rumor, backlash, and fear. Some were pulled for chaos behind the scenes. Others were removed because crowds turned angry. A few simply became legends of failure. Today, we explore the forgotten wreckage. Number 15. Star Voyager, 1984. Star Voyager arrived with a reputation as a bold attempt at cosmic adventure, but audiences quickly learned that something was very wrong. The film tells the story of a lone explorer drifting beyond the known universe as he searches for a lost colony swallowed by a mysterious star cloud. The premise sounds epic, yet the execution felt strangely unfinished, as if key scenes were missing. Many viewers whispered that the studio rushed the release to save money, and the broken structure supported that idea. As the movie played in its opening weekend, entire theaters reported walkouts. Projectionists complained about reels that looked poorly assembled, and critics described the film as one of the most confusing science stories ever made. Then came the twist. Some screenings were abruptly canceled mid-run. Rumors began spreading that the distributor ordered theaters to stop showing it after furious audiences demanded refunds. Behind the scenes, cast members later revealed that production had collapsed under scheduling trouble and endless rewrites. The director reportedly left before completion, and the crew stitched together whatever footage existed. The film vanished almost instantly after being pulled, leaving only fragments for fans to piece together. Today, Star Voyager survives as a strange artifact of what happens when ambition collides with chaos, a reminder that even the promise of stars can fall into shadow. Number 14. Quantum Rift, 1991. Quantum Rift entered theaters with the promise of a thrilling time-bending spectacle. Marketing called it the next evolution of science storytelling. Viewers expected a mind-bending journey. Instead, they were met with a disorienting labyrinth of mismatched scenes and jarring transitions that felt like a puzzle, missing half its pieces. The film follows a physicist who accidentally fractures the timeline, causing echoes of alternate realities to bleed into his world. The idea had potential for greatness. Yet the execution turned baffling as entire sequences felt out of order. Some whispered that the editor had only days to assemble the final cut. Others believed the original script had been abandoned halfway through production. During the opening nights, audiences reacted with frustration. Some theaters reported patrons shouting at the screen demanding clarity. A few even walked out before the midpoint. Critics delivered harsh reviews and accused the studio of releasing an unfinished experiment. Then the situation escalated. By the second week, Quantum Rift started disappearing from local listings. Theater managers claimed the film generated too many complaints. One independent venue described the atmosphere as tense, with viewers arguing loudly about the story. Soon, the distributor pulled the film completely, hoping to quiet the backlash. After removal, Quantum Rift gained a cult following among fans of cinematic disasters. Bootleg copies circulated quietly for years. Today, it stands as a cautionary tale about daring ideas sabotaged by rushed execution. A film remembered more for its disappearance than its vision. Number 13. Solar Outcast, 1978. Solar Outcast premiered as a moody deep space thriller, but even from the first screening, it was clear something was off. Set aboard a mining vessel drifting near a dying sun, the story follows a crew member who discovers that radiation storms are mutating the human mind. The setup was dense, atmospheric, and full of potential. Yet the film struggled under inconsistent pacing, sudden tonal shifts, and long stretches of silence that felt unintentional rather than artistic. Word spread quickly that the production had faced unimaginable trouble. Equipment failures, lighting issues, a script that changed daily. Actors reported feeling lost as entire plot points vanished overnight. The final cut stitched together scenes that no longer connected. Audiences reacted strongly. Some found the atmosphere eerie, but many found it unbearable. Reports surfaced of moviegoers demanding refunds. A few theaters even claimed that heated arguments broke out between viewers trying to interpret the plot. Then came the decisive moment. The distributor ordered screenings halted after only a handful of days. Insiders whispered that executives feared long-term damage to their reputation if the film remained in circulation. Solar Outcast vanished so thoroughly that many believed it had been intentionally buried. Years later, rare surviving prints resurfaced, winning the film a strange underground appreciation. People now watch it as a haunting example of ambition undone by production chaos. a reminder that even a story about a dying sun can be eclipsed by its own creation. Number 12. Titan Horizon, 1988. Titan Horizon arrived in theaters riding the wave of late 80s sci-fi enthusiasm. Fans expected an exciting blend of cyber technology and cosmic survival. Instead, they encountered a bewildering spectacle that left viewers confused and sometimes angry. The film follows a crew stranded near the moon Titan, where an alien signal turns machinery against them. The concept promised tension, but the film delivered erratic pacing and strangely mismatched effects. Production trouble shadowed Titan Horizon from the start. Crews described malfunctioning models, sensor rigs that collapsed, and entire visual sequences that had to be improvised when key team members quit mid-shoot. When editors attempted to assemble the footage, they discovered crucial scenes missing, forcing them to craft a narrative from fragments. Audiences reacted with disbelief. Some felt the film had no structure. Others believed scenes were shown in the wrong order. Word spread that the studio panicked during early screenings and demanded emergency cuts that made the story even more confusing. Theaters soon reported heated reactions. Groups of friends laughed uncontrollably at scenes meant to be serious. A few shouted sarcastic remarks during tense moments. Managers feared disruption. Within days, the distributor pulled Titan Horizon nationwide, citing too much negative attention. Despite the removal, a cult reputation slowly formed. Fans treasure Titan Horizon as an oddly mesmerizing failure that reflects the messy side of filmmaking. A film that teaches that even the distant moons of Saturn cannot escape human confusion. Number 11. Nebula Descent, 1993. Nebula Descent released with the promise of a bold visionary experiment. Critics praised early marketing and predicted a breakout hit. But from the opening frame, audiences sensed a problem. The film tells the story of a pilot trapped inside a collapsing nebula, where shifting colors warp memory and reality. The idea should have produced a hypnotic, dreamlike masterpiece. Instead, it created frustration. Many viewers struggled to understand what they were seeing. Scenes blurred together in ways that seemed less intentional and more like editing failure. Some wondered whether the director aimed for abstract symbolism. Others whispered that the studio had taken over the project at the last minute. Things spiraled quickly. Several theaters experienced loud arguments during screenings. Some patrons stood up mid-film insisting the projection was broken. Others demanded refunds. Critics labeled the movie a visual disaster, and audiences agreed. Then came the quiet removal. Overnight, Nebula Descent vanished from listings. Theater employees claimed they were told to stop showing it without explanation. Fans speculated about lost footage and mysterious studio decisions. In the decades since, Nebula Descent has transformed from a public fiasco into a cult curiosity. Viewers now study it like an archaeological relic from a chaotic chapter of science cinema, a reminder that even the most ambitious visions can collapse under their own weight, leaving only echoes inside the cosmic dark. Number 10. Omega Strain, 1994. Omega Strain entered theaters carrying the heavy expectation of being a groundbreaking virus-themed science saga, but within minutes, audiences felt something unsettling. The story follows a team of researchers who uncover an alien organism beneath Arctic ice only to watch it spread through their base, altering minds and warping reality. The premise was chilling and full of potential, yet the execution fell apart almost immediately. Scenes dragged without rhythm. Dialogue felt stiff. Entire sequences appeared stitched together with no continuity. Rumors surfaced that the production suffered catastrophic setbacks. Crew members described extreme weather-destroying equipment, while early visual effects tests failed so badly that replacements had to be done in haste. Insiders claimed that after a major funding issue, the project was cut down mid-shoot, forcing editors to assemble whatever footage survived. Opening weekend reactions were intense. Some viewers shouted that the film made no sense. Others left the theater in silence, looking confused rather than frightened. A few venues experienced heated confrontations between patrons who believed the projection was faulty, and employees insisting the film simply looked that way. By the end of the week, Omega Strain disappeared from screens. The distributor quietly pulled it, hoping to escape the growing ridicule. Years later, the film resurfaced through rare recordings, drawing a small dedicated following who studied it as an example of broken ambition. Omega Strain survives as a reminder that even stories about unknown organisms can be undone by the harsh reality of human error. Number 9. Chronobreer, 1979. Chronobreer released during an era obsessed with space adventure, yet it landed with a shocking thud. The film was advertised as a daring tale of time manipulation built on wild cosmic physics. Audiences expected innovation. Instead, they received confusion. The story centers on an astronaut who discovers a rift orbiting Jupiter that pulls him into repeating timelines. Each loop grows stranger as reality fractures. The premise sounded like pure excitement on paper, but the final film played like a jumble of unrelated scenes. Some shots repeated inexplicably, while others cut off suddenly, creating a frustrating experience for viewers. Behind the scenes, everything went wrong. Reports emerged that the original director quit after early disagreements, leaving a second director scrambling to salvage the project. Special effects teams struggled with malfunctioning miniatures and lighting rigs. Editors later claimed that half the footage lacked proper sound. During the premiere, audiences grew restless. Several patrons began yelling at key moments. A few stormed out in complete frustration. Critics published harsh responses describing Chronobreer as a cinematic meltdown. Within days, the studio pulled the film from most theaters, citing uncontrollable backlash. Rumors swirled that executives feared damaging their reputation if it continued. Chronobreer faded into obscurity almost instantly. Decades later, the film gained a cult reputation as a flawed attempt at visionary storytelling. It stands as an example of bold ideas collapsing under overwhelming production turmoil. A film that dreamed of bending time, but was instead erased by its own chaos. Number 8. Alien Harvest, 1985. Alien Harvest arrived with a reputation for gritty biological horror set on a remote farming moon. Early previews suggested an atmospheric thriller built on slow-burning tension. But when the film finally reached audiences, it triggered reactions that ranged from confusion to anger. The plot follows settlers who uncover a strange organism buried beneath their fields. As it grows, it infects the crops, alters the soil, and begins reshaping the land. The premise had the potential to explore ecological dread. Instead, the execution became muddled. Scenes dragged with long, silent stretches. Visual effects flickered inconsistently. Performances felt detached, as if actors received unclear direction throughout production. Insiders later revealed that the project suffered massive budget cuts. Early designs for the creature could not be completed, and replacement props malfunctioned on set. Several sequences had to be filmed in near darkness after lighting equipment failed, leading to a visual style that audiences found nearly unwatchable. During opening weekend, theaters reported walkouts. Some viewers openly argued in the aisles about whether the film was intentionally surreal or simply broken. One venue claimed their audience demanded refunds almost immediately. The distributor responded, quickly removing Alien Harvest from circulation within days. The film became one of the shortest lived theatrical releases of the decade. Over time, Alien Harvest resurfaced through scattered recordings and midnight screenings. A small group of cult fans appreciate its haunting atmosphere while acknowledging its fractured structure. A reminder that even the most fertile worlds can rot under the weight of failed ambition. Number 7. Void Anthem, 1992. Void Anthem debuted with the promise of a powerful fusion of cosmic terror and emotional storytelling. Posters teased a tale of a lone survivor drifting through an abandoned alien megastructure while haunted by a mysterious voice. Expectations were high. Reality was brutal. From the first scenes, audiences sensed a problem. The pacing lurched between slow monologues and frantic action. Visual effects flickered unnaturally as though unfinished. Many viewers struggled to understand the internal logic of the story. Some wondered if key scenes had been lost. Others suspected severe editorial interference. Production accounts paint a troubling picture. The film reportedly changed screenwriters multiple times. Crews claimed the massive set built for the megastructure collapsed midway through shooting, forcing the team to use improvised locations. Tension escalated between actors and the director, leading to uneven performances. During screenings, the atmosphere grew tense. Some audience members laughed at serious moments. Others grew frustrated and left early. Reports surfaced of angry discussions in several theaters as viewers tried to interpret the story. By the end of the first week, Void Anthem began disappearing from schedules. Executives allegedly feared long-term embarrassment and ordered the film pulled nationwide. Years later, the film resurfaced at small Sci-Fi conventions, gaining interest from fans who admire its ambition despite its flaws. Void Anthem endures as a testament to the difficulty of balancing grand cosmic vision with human limitations. A story meant to echo across the void, instead swallowed by it. Number 6. Red Nova Rising, 1977. Red Nova Rising launched with confident marketing and a bold promise of explosive cosmic action. Yet the release became one of the strangest collapses in genre history. The film tells the story of a rebel pilot who uncovers an energy weapon hidden inside a newborn star. The idea was full of potential for thrilling spectacle, but the final product felt chaotic and disorganized. Scenes switched tone abruptly, action sequences lacked timing, dialogue appeared mismatched with the visuals. Some viewers believed the film had been edited out of order. Others theorized missing reels. Rumors intensified when projectionists claimed their copies contained inconsistent color shifts and abrupt cuts. Behind the scenes, accounts support the theory of a deeply troubled production. Crew members described the set as unstable, with major technical failures. The director reportedly clashed with producers over creative direction. Key effects shots failed to render correctly, leading to emergency replacements that looked noticeably amateurish. During its first weekend, audiences reacted strongly. Groups argued loudly after screenings. Some demanded refunds, insisting the film did not meet promotional expectations. The backlash intensified until theater owners raised concerns about attendance dropping. The studio made a sudden decision, pulling Red Nova Rising entirely. The film became a ghost almost overnight. Over the decades, fragments survived through occasional underground screenings. Today, it carries a strange mythic aura, a film that aimed to ignite the universe with wonder, but instead collapsed under internal turbulence, leaving only the faint glow of what might have been. Number 5. Cosmic Warden, 1981. Cosmic Warden arrived with thunderous advertising promising a heroic saga across fractured galaxies. Audiences expected sweeping adventure and emotional depth. What they received instead was a bewildering mosaic of ideas that never formed a coherent story. The film follows a guardian assigned to patrol the border between known space and a forbidden dimension. When the barrier begins to collapse, he must confront an entity that devours reality itself. On paper, it sounded like pure cinematic spectacle. On screen, it became a tangled storm of unfinished scenes and abrupt tonal shifts. Crew members later revealed that scripting trouble plagued Cosmic Warden from the earliest days. Entire story arcs were written, abandoned, rewritten, and then shot out of order. Actors struggled to understand their characters, because motivations changed daily. The effects team worked under impossible deadlines, producing sequences that looked mismatched and incomplete. When the film premiered, audiences reacted with shock. Viewers whispered that scenes seemed to contradict one another. Some even believed that two different movies had been combined by accident. Confusion turned into frustration as multiple screenings ended with heated arguments in the aisles. Theater owners began reporting unusual behavior. Patrons demanded refunds. Others walked out silently with expressions of disbelief. Within a few days, the distributor ordered all screenings halted. Cosmic Warden vanished almost instantly. Over time, however, the film developed a strange afterlife. Fans studying lost cinema dug up fragments and assembled theories about the creator's original intent. Cosmic Warden stands today as an example of monumental ambition overwhelmed by production turmoil, a reminder that even galaxy-spanning legends can collapse before they ever reach their destination. Number 4. Saturn Cry, 1974. Saturn Cry entered theaters during a wave of fascination with distant planets and cosmic mystery. Early promotions called it a bold descent into the emotional cost of deep space exploration. But audiences soon discovered that the film struggled under a chaotic creative process that left it nearly impossible to follow. The story follows an astronaut haunted by a voice echoing from the rings of Saturn. As he investigates the signal, he begins losing his grip on memory, time, and identity. The setup promised psychological tension, but the final product drifted without direction. Scenes stretched endlessly, while others ended without resolution. Visual transitions flickered awkwardly, as though patched together at the last minute. Those who worked on Saturn Cry later revealed the truth. The director redesigned the film halfway through shooting, creating a fractured vision. Much of the original footage became unusable. The editing team was forced to assemble a new narrative from scattered pieces. Performers described confusion about their roles as entire character arcs dissolved. Audience reactions were intense. Some viewers felt mesmerized by the atmosphere. Others argued loudly that the film made no sense. A handful of theaters reported confrontations between patrons who insisted the projection was broken and staff who insisted it was simply the movie. Within a week, Saturn Cry disappeared from cinemas. The studio decided the backlash was too strong to risk long-term damage. Decades later, Saturn Cry re-emerged as a cult artifact. Today, it serves as a haunting reminder that cosmic storytelling can collapse just as easily as the fragile minds depicted in its story. Number 3. Eclipse Divide, 1996. Eclipse Divide launched with the promise of a visionary spectacle blending hard science with cosmic dread. Audiences expected a groundbreaking event. Instead, they received a fractured combination of philosophical monologues, scattered plot threads, and special effects that appeared unfinished. The narrative follows two rival scientists who discover a cosmic anomaly that splits reality into parallel layers. Each time they experiment, the rift grows wider, threatening to erase both worlds. The premise had the potential to become a masterpiece of tension and imagination, but internal conflict weakened the film beyond repair. Reports surfaced that production was filled with disputes. Writers argued with producers. Producers argued with the director. Scenes were reshot repeatedly as creative decisions shifted unpredictably. Effects teams worked with limited guidance, resulting in visuals that did not match the tone. When the film debuted, audiences reacted sharply. Some viewers attempted to follow the plot while others gave up within minutes. Entire screenings erupted into debates about what the story meant. A few theaters reported that frustrated patrons walked out midway muttering in disbelief. By the end of the first week, the studio pulled Eclipse Divide nationwide, hoping to minimize further embarrassment. Critics labeled it one of the most puzzling sci-fi films ever made. Today, Eclipse Divide draws attention from fans who study cinematic misfires. They admire its ambition even while acknowledging its confusion. The film endures as a reminder that innovation can crumble when too many visions collide within the same production. Number 2. Ion Storm Prophecy, 1976. Ion Storm Prophecy began as a daring attempt to explore cosmic spirituality through the lens of a spacefaring civilization. Early concept art and previews generated excitement, but the final film would become known as one of the most bewildering collapses in theatrical sci-fi history. The story centers on a messenger who travels between worlds, warning of an approaching cosmic storm that can erase consciousness itself. As he journeys through alien cultures, he encounters visions that blur prophecy and hallucination. The themes were ambitious, yet the film lacked a stable foundation. Scenes drifted without purpose. Entire exchanges felt disconnected from the broader narrative. Crew members later revealed production mayhem. Sets fell apart mid-shoot. Costume teams struggled with impractical designs. Key scenes intended to explain the mythology were never filmed due to scheduling problems. Editors attempted to patch the film together, but found entire story arcs missing. Audiences responded with confusion and anger. Some attempted to interpret the symbolism. Others sat in stunned silence. A few screenings ended with viewers shouting at the screen. One theater reportedly shut down its showing early after tensions escalated inside the auditorium. The studio pulled the film days later, hoping to end the backlash. Ion Storm Prophecy slipped into obscurity, becoming a whispered legend among fans of lost cinema. Today, the film is revisited by a small group of enthusiasts who find beauty in its ambition despite its broken form. It serves as a reminder that cosmic prophecy means nothing if the story itself cannot survive the storm. Number 1. Dark Signal Threshold, 1982. Dark Signal Threshold promised to be a groundbreaking descent into the terror of deep space isolation. Posters portrayed it as a masterpiece of cosmic suspense. Expectations soared. But the moment audiences saw the opening scenes, they realized something was disastrously wrong. The film follows a communications officer stationed on a remote orbital relay who begins receiving strange transmissions from beyond charted space. As the signals grow more distorted, she experiences visions that distort time and identity. The premise could have been haunting and unforgettable. Instead, the film played like an incoherent dream. Scenes repeated unexpectedly. Cuts jumped without rhythm. Key moments lacked sound, making viewers believe the projector had malfunctioned. Accounts from former crew members paint a chaotic picture. Severe funding shortages forced the team to abandon fully built sets. Animators struggled to complete essential sequences. The director reportedly clashed with producers who demanded faster results, resulting in a haphazard final cut. Audiences reacted with intensity. Some viewers erupted into laughter, while others showed clear frustration. A few screenings ended early as theater staff chose to stop the projection after complaints. The distributor pulled Dark Signal Threshold within days. Its disappearance became part of its legacy. Years later, the film resurfaced in fragmented archival prints, attracting fans fascinated by its nightmarish atmosphere. Today, Dark Signal Threshold stands as a symbol of how fragile cinematic vision can be when crushed under pressure. A film that tried to explore the unknown but was instead lost within it. Across decades, these films vanished from theaters, leaving behind echoes of chaos, confusion, and ambition undone. Each one reminds us that the path to cosmic storytelling is filled with risk and mystery. Which of these forgotten disasters would you dare to watch today? Tell us in the comments. Like this video, share your thoughts, subscribe for more journeys into hidden corners of cinema history.